What's up, guys? We're back with some more RLCS Season 1 group stage players. Where are they now? This time we're doing the Europe edition. This one is chaotic as fuck. A lot of players moved around, a lot of teams disbanded. It's a little crazy. So we're just going to get right into it. We'll start off with some easier ones. You know, let's go light into it. We'll go first with FlipSid Tactics. Only one roster move, but still, that's one roster move. Probably too many for the top team in Europe. But the move was because Mike Rules, for health reasons, he wanted to step down from playing competitively for a little while. So instead, he made a team called Good Morning, which I think is more of a fun team with My Bipod. And they also have Spoonie on that roster and Morbo Alast. I never know how to say his name. But they're doing a more for fun squad, I believe, going into the RLCS. But Cooksier and Marky are going to rock the FlipSid flag, and they're going to continue on with some guy from Northern Gaming. You ever hear of him? Named Greasy Meister. He moves over to FlipSid Tactics. Now, I actually think this is probably the strangest roster move of maybe all of the moves that happened. Northern Gaming was probably the hottest online team going into the LAN. They come in third place at the LAN, second for Europe. So Greasy decides to jump over to the team that beat them, FlipSid Tactics, which I was surprised about because I thought Northern Gaming had a really good chemistry going, and I thought they might have had a good chance of being that top team in Europe once again when Mike Rules left FlipSid, because Mike Rules is probably one of the best teamwork players in the game. But instead of trying to work it out with Northern Gaming, he moves over to FlipSid Tactics. And Maestro and Remco, they continue the Northern Gaming flag once again. DeBoer has moved on from the sub role to Valencia CF Esports. They've been a team for a while. He doesn't really do much with them, but we'll see. Maybe they'll make some noise in the RLCS this time if you want to watch them. But Maestro and Remco going to continue to flag. And there was a lot of controversy around the Northern Gaming roster throughout the past month, but we'll get into that more in a second. But you should expect to see Northern Gaming and FlipSid Tactics both make it back to league play probably pretty easily, but Europe is a very contentious region, so you never know if one of these teams gets upset and doesn't even make it. Next roster, we got Mockit Esports. So this team is no more, kind of. Now, Pashy, maybe you've heard of him the past few days. He's now on Mockit Aces. He had a roller coaster of a ride going through, like after the LAN. First, he was with Devo and Panda, and Violent Panda, which I actually didn't write the roster down here, but I'm pretty sure that's what the roster is. And he left them to try out for Northern Gaming. Then he was on Northern Gaming for a week. Then he kind of got the boot. They didn't think it was working. So then he goes and forms with, I can't even remember anymore, honestly. There's just so many people. He formed with K-Dop and Skyline. And then just yesterday, or 2 days ago, I guess, he swapped out K-Dop and Skyline back for Devo and Violent Panda. So he's been around a bit, but has settled in with Mockit Aces. The Mockit org is going to be sponsoring them once again. So basically the same team for Pashy, at least, by the name at least. And then Sicky, he's on Precision Z. He's the one that Devo and Violent Panda left to join Pashy with. So Sicky kind of got boned in the deal, but now he's with Skyline and K-Dop. They're going to try and get their revenge on Mockit Aces during the RLCS qualifiers. That should be fun to watch. Hopefully they get to meet up during those, because that would be an exciting match. Then we got Turbo Posa. He left immediately following the LAN. Like, a lot of us knew that he was leaving probably no matter what the result was for Mockit at the LAN. He left right away. He's joining up with Dogu and a lot to form Oh My Dog. So get ready to spam that in the Twitch chat. And Killer number 7, the first sub, moves over to Team Complex, and that's actually a pretty decent team. They have Vogan and Yeezy as well on that squad, so look for them to be battling out for one of those top 8 spots going into league play. And then Stocky moving over to Team Solid. He's playing with Seeks, Kilik, Heavy, and Big Fat White Dudes, I think. I assume it's Seeks and maybe Kilik as the starters with Stocky. I'm not positive of that. Team Solid's going to be one of those borderline teams. I think they're probably on the outside looking in, but if they make some upsets, they can make it into league play as well. So next up, we got Flying Dutchmen. This team disbanded right after the LAN, maybe a week or so after the LAN. Vogan with the T-shirt in the closet video was pretty funny. But Vogan, he's going on Team Complex, who we just talked about. Jesse moving over to Team Summit with Sebedem and Flark, with Yemen as the sub. That team, again, is one of those borderline top 8 teams, I would say. So they have a decent chance. And then Dogu, we also talked about before with Oh My Dog. So a lot of these guys all kind of broke up and then made different teams within the same groupings. And then Paulie Paul, he's on Team Godlike. I don't expect too much from Godlike, but we'll see when it comes down to the qualifiers. So no more of the Flying Dutchman, but 3 of the 4, like the 3 starters, I'd say all 3 of them have teams that are borderline top 8. In a very similar position of what the Flying Dutchmen were in when they were trying to qualify. So all 3 of these guys know what to do in qualifiers. They've shown up before, so we'll see it again, hopefully, from all 3 of these teams, and then we'll get to see some revenge matchups. Next up, we got Supersonic Avengers. They just missed out on the LAN by 5 points, coming in second in Qualifier 2, beating the FlipSid Tactics. They are the only Europe squad to remain the same for the 3 starters. Doomsy, ELMP, and Snasky all returning for Supersonic Avengers. Literally probably the only team in Europe out of every single team in the world in Europe. Like even the prospect teams, I think every single team switched in the past month and a half. Except for this team, Doomsy, ELP, and Snasky. We'll see if that pays off for them, if the teamwork can overcome all. They're a really solid team anyway, like skill-wise, so it's expected to see them in league play, but they had some issues. Qualifier 1 could happen again here. Then Ono Ole, I think it's how you say it. He's on Team Transcendence. I don't expect a crazy amount from them. I didn't even rate them in the roster because I didn't really see them doing too much, but who knows, you know? Like, they might have an outside chance looking in. And Kasabi, I did not see him on any RLCS roster. Maybe he changed his name. I'm not positive. So for now, I put him down as not playing. Next up, we got Comrade Gaming. Lou Nation moves over to Aeriality, one of the other teams that made a group stage. I believe he is sub/coach. Again, not sure. Then Jukesy, OSP, and Ginger Ninja. I could not find any of these guys on another RLCS team. Again, maybe they changed their name in the RLCS system or the Smash.gg system, but as of now, none of the 3 are playing. The Comrade curse is upon us. Next up, we got Shoot and Goal. They didn't have a great group stage last time. Like, Shoot and Goal, Comrade, and Aeriality kind of all suffered a ton during group stage. So it's to be expected that a lot of these teams would be switching it up. But again, I don't see a lot of these guys playing. Fakey, Killer No, Fanatis, and Cooper. Don't see him playing. The Cooper was a sub. Fanatis and Killer No and Trosad, like the 4 of them up top, like with Fakey, they all kind of subbed in and out for the most part. But we never saw Cooper on the field, I don't think. So I don't see any of them playing except for Shawset. He's on Team Red Eye. And this team's looking pretty decent. They have Tequilas and Dadu as the starters. This is one of those teams that has a good chance at making the top 8 or at least be in that conversation of like top 12. So definitely look out for them. But again, I didn't see that the other ones playing. Maybe they changed their names. I'm not sure. It was hard to look them up. So I could be wrong there. But if you know if they're playing, just throw it in the comments for me. Next up, we got Aeriality. So this team was K-Dop, Pixel, and Continuum. Pixel and Continuum will stay with Aeriality, and then K-Dop was one of those free agents that everyone was looking at to see if he would make one of these bigger squads. He was about to join up with Apache and then kind of got screwed out of that deal. So instead, he's going with Precision Z, which we've talked about a ton. They're probably going to be fan favorites going in to league play if they make it. They're one of those teams, again, right on the border of top 8. We'll see if they can get themselves in with Skyline and Siki, trying to get revenge on Mockit Aces on Apache. But that'll do it for Europe, guys. These were all the players are going. Europe is completely different from last RLCS. In North America, we had the top 3 teams basically stay the same. Even the top 4 teams that all made land, there was only one roster move. Here, there's a roster move on every single team except for Supersonic Avengers, keeping the same exact squad. I expect to see FlipSid, Northern Gaming back in there, even with their one roster move. Supersonic Avengers, I would probably see going as well, but you never know with them. They find a way to lose sometimes. So it's going to be sketchy because it all comes down to one day, guys. September 11th is the first stage of Open Qualifiers, and then it'll go down to the top 64, I believe, for weekend number 2. That will be broadcasted. That will be September 18th, and that's the weekend best of 5 double elimination for all these teams. And we'll see who makes the top 8, who gets into the money, $3,500 for each of these teams. And then, excuse me, of course, more money to be had as the season goes on for placing well in playoffs and then possibly going to the LAN. So we'll see these teams there. And thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate the views and the comments. We'll see you next time.